On May 25 of this year, George Floyd was killed. After his assassination, people started to go to the streets to express their outrage. The protests started a day after Floyd was murdered and have been ongoing ever since. There have been protests all over the United States. There have also been protests in other places like London, Switzerland, Brazil, and many other places. Some of the signs protesters have held up have Floyd's face on them. Other signs say "I can't breathe" since Floyd said this phrase many times during the arrest that took his life. Some protesters put Black Lives Matter, which is a movement that began in 2013 after a 17-year-old African American boy was fatally shot. We need to continue fighting until we're all treated the same.
Over the past few years, we have been seeing a lot of racism and hate in the world. This is something that is not new, but it has resurfaced again, especially now in America in 2020, since we're being led by someone who is racist himself. Racism is wrong and it cannot be tolerated by anyone. Here are some ways you can help to prevent it. Number 1. Speak up when you see someone being a victim of racism. Number 2. If someone you know is being ignorantly racist, educate them on the topic. Number 3. Since hate is something that you are not born with it, if not you learn it, teach kids from a young age to love and accept everyone for who they are. Number 4. Recognize your own privilege and use it to help others who have less of it. And number 5. Validate the experiences and feelings of people of color. These were 5 of many more ways to help prevent racism.
It's a hard life on easy street, just like painted picket fence as far as you can see. If you think we live in the land of the free, you should try to be black like me.
We have seen racism all throughout history, and it keeps being recorded in books like The Underground Railroad. Slaves like Cora, who fought so hard for freedom, to be treated as equal. Now, this is still an ongoing cause, and movements have been created, such as the Black Lives Matter movement. I asked a couple of people what they thought this was. This is what they said. I consider this movement is for the voices of black people to be heard and stop being punished for no reason, to stop the violence, the crime, the racism ongoing around the world. No one should be treated less. It is very sad that in 2020 we still have to stand up against an oppressive government to deliver a message. Everyone deserves to live free. Everyone deserves to be treated as an equal.
I know that saying Black Lives Matter and say their names can get a little repetitive, but don't you think black people get tired of being discriminated against and having to face inequality every day? An author named Brent Staples talks about how he learned the language of fear, but not by feeling it, by seeing it. Him being a black man saw what people did to avoid him. Some examples he makes are the times that he would cross the sidewalk and people would go to the other side of the street rather than pass him. And while crossing, he would hear the clicks of people closing their car doors. He has encountered this kind of behavior plenty of times, but has learned how to smother their rage. One of his biggest problems is that without doing anything and just being himself, he is seen as a criminal. Black people have to take certain precautions for situations that others find very normal. Even worse, some people consider themselves victims in these situations.
Black Lives Matter.